Willie, good to chat. We'll start with a couple of injuries from the weekend. Dean Harley with a groin issue. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's training, so he's getting through the week at the moment. We'll give him to later on in the week to finalise, but he's on track at the moment.
Tanganero as well with a sternum injury, picked up. How's he?
Yeah, he's good. He's recovered. He's been training all week as well, so he's in a good spot.
And finally, it was Joe Burgess who there's a question mark over his HIA. Did he pass it in the end?
No, he didn't pass, so Joe's out this weekend.
Okay. Any other issues coming from the Wigan game, or is that it?
That's it. Yeah, aside from the performance and result. No, that's it. Yeah, that's it. We were actually in a decent spot. After the game, we obviously thought that we could potentially lose 3 from the game. So Joe was obviously ruled out straight away, and then the other 2, we got better news as a couple of days later.
How were the squad feeling after the game? What's the emotion in the camp like?
Yeah, naturally disappointed, obviously, to lose a cup semi. We obviously wanted to play at Wembley and do that all again. But, at the end of the day, you sort of get what you deserve. We didn't deserve to take that next step. Wigan certainly did. They were class from the first minute to the 80th, and just highlights why they are the club that they are. But naturally, disappointed group, but a group that I know are looking forward to playing this week and getting on with the Super League season, because we're in control of what we do going forward. We obviously we need to learn from the past and learn from the weekend, but certainly look at London this weekend as an opportunity to get ourselves back to playing the way we want to play.
Does that make your job as a head coach slightly easier, knowing that your squad does have a lot of appetite within it and they will bounce back fairly well on their own from these sorts of defeats?
Yeah, look, you'd like to think, you don't want players hurting too much, but you certainly, it's certainly healthy. I think it's a good sign if players don't feel so great about their individual performance or the end result. So I think, we had that this weekend, and actions are everything. To me, it's what the players do with their actions. I've certainly seen a group this week that's trained well and looking forward to playing this weekend. But at the end of the day, it'll be all about their actions on Sunday against London. That'll tell us a little bit more of of how much we want to sort of move on from last week and make up for it.
You're still fairly early in your career as a head coach as well. Have you learned anything in your time at the top to help your side recover from this sort of loss? Yeah,
you learn every day. But I think the one thing that I'm pretty confident that you need to do is you need to obviously learn and not forget in terms of it's not ideal that we are out of the cup. It's not where we wanted to be, but you certainly can't hold on to it too long, and I've brought it up before. One thing I admired about the group last year is how we handled the loss at Wembley to go on and what we did after that. So that's all we need to focus on. We need to focus on what we can do now going forward, and that narrow focus is what we do in London this weekend. So, from my experience and certainly the players' experience, I think there's enough experience in this group. If you hold on to something for too long, then that'll affect your next job, and that's in games. We've spoken about that. In games at the moment, we're not defending as well as what we want to, and I think we're just not handling some moments. But the key is just not to hold on to what's just happened. Move on to your next job. So that's what we need to do this week. We just need to move on to our next job, which is London on Sunday.
Obviously, the Challenge Cup game last season was a lot later on in the season. And this being, we're not even in June yet. Is that something that you have to think about, having this game with so much emotion into it a lot earlier in the season and making sure that momentum carries on throughout a much longer period of time compared to last year?
I think it's probably better in the sense that last year you played a lot of games where other teams having a break, and then before we knew it, we only had 6 or 7 games before the semis. So it took a really mentally strong team and a team that was united to do what we did, I thought, because you don't have time to we didn't have time to have too many mistakes along the way. We did against St Helens, which was only 5 days later, playing against the former world champions at their home ground. So that can be, you can excuse that a little bit. There was a 20-minute performance in that game, but I thought we held our own, even though the scoreline sort of didn't suggest that. But it's what we did after that. But if we tiptoed into the next sort of 5 or 6 weeks, we could have been out of the semis. But then we made our way into the fall. This time, there's a lot of rugby league ahead of us. There's plenty, So what we need to do now is just sort of narrow that down to 2 games. Then we have a weekend off, and then we go 2 games again. And hopefully there's some players on our side that are playing rep weekend, but majority will have the weekend off. So, we can afford to just to look at 2 blocks at a time until we have that break in about 4 weeks' time.
Speaking of blocks, you've just finished 5 games against the top 4 sides in the league. How do you assess your squad's performance over the last 5?
Yeah, well, when it's there to be seen on the results, it's mixed, wasn't it? We have a couple of great performances against Wigan and Saints, and obviously some down ones against Catalans and Warrington, and again Wigan on the weekend. So, it's mixed and it's inconsistent. But in saying that, I think the wins that we did have show where we can get to, the heights that we can get to. Now it's just about staying consistent with that, and I've said it before, not having your best and worst too far away, because at the moment it is.
After the Catalans defeat, I think you said to us that playing Wigan the game after was the perfect game for you, because after a defeat like that, you want to play against a top side. Obviously, London are at the other end of that spectrum. They picked up their first win, but they're at the bottom of the table. So where do the Broncos fit into that? Yeah,
I actually think it's a good game for us this week as well, because what we need this week is a professional, clinical performance against London. And you look at the game that we played them here, they wouldn't have been too happy with their first half. We had a really strong first half. I think it was 40-4 or something at half time. Then it was a 10-6 scoreline in the second half. So we went from being a dominant team in that first half. They'd obviously get a bit of confidence out of that second half. So for us, it's about mentally staying in games for longer periods. So we haven't done that the last couple of weeks. Certainly our start has been poor. Obviously we're travelling down to London, and I think it's a positive because it gets the group together. We'll stay the night before, and it gets everyone united. So I think it's a good opportunity to play against a team that has nothing to lose, and off their first win they'll be confident. So there's no doubt they throw a lot at you. And when you're playing against teams that have got nothing to lose, and they don't beat themselves as such, they'll keep working hard. I think that's what we need at the moment. We need to see where we're at, and as I said, I do say it most weeks, but just worry about what we can, and that's putting in 80-minute performance, because we haven't done that for the last couple of weeks.
You mentioned that you're travelling down the day before. Do you treat London slightly differently to other UK away games, given that it is a bigger distance in how you prepare for it during the week?
Yeah, look, we've stayed overnight at other places that are closer, so we're used to that. London's one where it is obviously the travel, so 3 o'clock kickoff I think it is. So yeah, so we will stay together, but I think it's a really good opportunity for us to be able to connect and enjoy each other's company before the boys play on Sunday. So I think that's important off the back of last week.
When we spoke to Simon Griggs, the FC interim coach, before their game against London, he said he hadn't seen them develop much in style over the course of the season. Not saying that was a good or a bad thing, that they just had this consistent style. Is that something you agree with, or do you see it slightly differently?
I think they move the ball around. Is that what you mean? I think that their style is that they throw shape at you. I think they ask a lot of questions. I think they put you under pressure defensively because they are moving the ball so much. So they get middles working without actually making tackles. They actually test you defensively. They test your system. They test your effort areas. There's no doubt. We know what their plan's going to be. They're going to try and move us around. So I certainly believe that they have a style. That's my thoughts, and I'm pretty sure that they'll use that style this weekend. I don't think they'll be one that will want to play through the middle third and go set for set. They'll have a different approach, and I think I've seen enough to sort of suggest that they'll do that this weekend.
Just a couple more from me. You said after the weekend game that you're going to speak to the officials, get some clarification around stuff like escorts and offside. Have you had that conversation?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Any answers come out of it? Or?
Yeah, certainly. They've come back to us, and I won't go sort of too much into it, but obviously they admitted some areas that they thought they may have got wrong. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got beaten by a far superior team on the day. I just wanted to get clarification around the rulings and things like that. And referees and they're human. There would have been decisions in that game. I'm sure that Wigan would have been able to look at as well and go, well, why didn't we get that call? But I just think it's important that we all know certain rules and we stay consistent with it. And that's they've clarified that.
Bill Bentham on the Five Live podcast said communication with clubs and coaches was something he very much wanted to improve on. How do you think it is at the moment compared to how it's been in the past, both as a coach and during your playing time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's getting a lot better. In the pre-season, referees can come out and spend time with clubs, and I think it's important. I think it's important for players to see that referees are obviously humans, and it's important that. The referees get to understand the players and get to know players, because I think sometimes they could have preconceived sort of idea of what someone could be like from the field, but then they're totally different. Vice versa, where the player gets to know a referee. So I think that respect is important. So I'm a fan of that. And we do have the ability to be able to call Phil and raise any concerns of the weekend or how we can do things better. So I think the lines of communication is quite good.
And final one, Lewis Senior announced as Castleford player next year. Just a quick word on him, what he's done for the club.
Yeah, no, Louis has been great. It's a great opportunity, and I'm pleased for Louis because he wanted to start and he wanted to play, more regular first team. Louis was off contract this year. It was one of those situations that we couldn't offer him a contract, and we spoke around if there was an opportunity. Cass, presented him with that opportunity. He's taken it with both hands. So, like some players that left last year, it is pleasing to see that they are doing well, because we like to sort of let them know early so they can go get contracts at other clubs. Certainly we know that what we've got for the year after, and if they're not in the plans for the year after, let them know nice and early. And I'm pleased that Lou's got a contract at Cass for the next couple of years.
Lovely. That's everything from me, Willie. Good luck at the weekend.
Cheers. Thank you.
Willie, how are we doing?
Yeah, well, Matt, you?
Not bad. Just a few from me. Obviously, the RFL contract list came out a couple of weeks ago now, and there are a few insights there regarding what you'll be doing with Reece Butterworth, Matt Parcell, and a few others. Just from a wider perspective, how tough are they having those conversations generally, but also having to make those sort of calls in May? As someone like Reece, as an example, you've only had 6 months with him. So just how difficult is that whole process?
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the job. Everyone's different. I mean, all coaches are different. Everyone will take a different approach. My approach is that I'd prefer to let players know if we do know. We've spoken internally. We're looking to go a certain direction. Then my approach will always be honest and upfront with where the player's at. But I'll also get where they're at as well. So it's a two-way street. Like, you have conversation. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the club always saying this is what we're doing. Players have a lot to say as well with their managers. But it's one of those, as I said, if we know as a club that we're going to go in a different direction, and we have those conversations with players of reasons why, which we do early, then it gives them an opportunity to be able to go get another job, go get another club. That's the most important thing for me. It's not easy. The last thing I want to do is, if I know something, I'll hold off and I don't tell the player, and you can tell them maybe, and then you tell them 4 weeks, before the end of the season. That's not good for anyone, and they don't get a job. I'm not going to feel too nice as a coach when I can let them know months earlier. So as much as sometimes, if we have to make a call, it's not easy, and players, obviously it wouldn't be nice for them to feel, to hear that, but they can certainly look to get other opportunities, and that's, it's all part of it.
Was Matt a little bit of a different one in that maybe that was discussed a while back with him about, what he wants to do as well, not just the direction you guys were going in, but the direction.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've said it before, mate. Matty could play at this club, longer, and he could go to another Super League club if he likes and play longer. That's a decision Matty's going to have to make. But we've certainly had conversations last year. It's all been open and transparent, and I've known where he's at, and vice versa. He knows. Where the club's at as well. So they've been open conversations, and as I said, Matt's still a key member of our team, and
Is it a fair assumption to think that you'll be looking for a hooker now for next year, given two are going?
Yeah, we definitely we'll need to get a hooker. So we'll know more around our recruitment space in the next couple of weeks. There'll be a couple more that we're looking at to bring in, and what that looks like.
Just finally from me, one name obviously in the rounds, the Reeve Doro. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I can tell you that I've had my eye on him. Like I've watched him play. I like what I see. But again, mate, I'll be able to give you more in a couple of weeks' time of where it's at. But Reeve, I looked at him when I was in Australia a couple of years back, and I followed him in the championship, and he's a good player.
Brilliant. Cheers, Willie.
Cheers, Matt.
Hey, Willie. How are you doing?
Hey, James. Good, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just a quick one on Ryan Hall, who's made a few uncharacteristic errors recently. Inevitably, people are saying that age might have caught with him, but are you putting it down to a blip?
Oh, look, no, not at all. I mean, Hawley's played, he'd say himself, I don't need to tell Hawley if he's played well or if he hasn't, because he's very honest with himself. I think collectively hasn't helped. I think our last 2 weeks overall, our team performance overall hasn't been great. So I don't think it's right to sort of single Hawley out individually. But as I say, mate, like no one means to go out and make errors, and I don't think, depending on what the error is, but if you broke them down to have a look, does age have anything to do with a certain error? Like, I don't think so. There's no doubt Hawley is not as quick as what he was 10 years ago. But he's signed a contract obviously with Leeds for next year. He's going to go around again, and he's the one that said that he'll pull stumps and finish up when he can't do it anymore. He's 36, I think he is, but he's certainly still a Super League player, and he's still holding his own.
Are you happy with his performances generally? That work out of backfield and the stuff that he's known for.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Hawley can improve certain parts of his game, but again, that's not down to his age. There's some things in his game, as I say, that like every player in our team the last couple of weeks that can work on. So, Hawley's got a carry that not many wingers have, and he's still got that. So I'm sure we'll see that again this weekend. Naturally, when you're playing big games, you don't get as much space, you don't get as much time. Wigan did a great job on him, and they do a good job on him when they play him because they know that he's a threat. So I think if you look at Wigan's tip sheet, I'm sure off the back of their kick chase, they'll be talking about winning Ryan Hall's carry. And if they're doing that, he's still got something to say in the game.
Yeah. If there are any fans out there doubting him, are you backing him to prove them wrong? Which he's done before, hasn't he?
Well, he's done it for 18 years, So for me, I mean, players, that's what they do, don't they? I mean, there's obviously fans that'll have their say on individuals, they'll have their say on coaches, they'll have their say on teams. It's normal. I mean, a few weeks ago we were going to win the comp, and now we're not. So again, what do we need to do? It's up to us to prove people wrong by putting in a strong performance. Hawley's the same. Hawley will be looking for a better performance this week, and he does it. He's done it for 18 years. He knows the score. He knows if he's not playing as well as what he can. But as I said, I'm not singling Ryan Hall at all. It's collectively what we need to do. But as I say, mate, like I'm pretty sure teams like Wigan and London this week will be talking about trying to win Ryan Hall's carry-on play too, because he's an important part to what we do. So I think he's still holding his own. But there's no doubt, as I said, there's no doubt he'll know that he's hasn't played the best he can the last 2 weeks, but it's certainly from not preparing well and putting in.
Well, good stuff. Thank you, Willie. All the best.
Cheers, mate.
Sunday.